I've never been paid by Geico. So I can say this with a straight face. I have awesome respect for Geico. I really do.
What do you think? I know you talk to a lot of insurance agents and you talk to a lot of carriers. What do you think going through this time that we're going through right now? What's a mistake you think a lot of insurance agents are making, and what's a mistake you think a lot of carriers are making?
Wow, that's a loaded question that I love. Okay, so let me give you I'm going to break it up a little bit because they're two different things. Carriers, agents. Let's call agents distribution because they're part of a distribution ecosystem, right? They're not the end all like we used to be. When I started in '83, it was the agent or nothing, right? And then you had a little bit of telephony, you know, at 1-800, you had some paper apps and whatnot, but pretty much everything relied on the agents. And still, agents control a monster amount of the business. Now, the ecosystem has changed. The mistake I see that agents make, okay, distribution out in the field, is they don't embrace the omni-channel, you know, that the customer is in control 100%. And that means that the customer decides when they want to buy, how they want to buy, what they want to buy. And it all started with Walmart, you know, in retail. Everybody thought that Walmart was going to displace all the local businesses. They didn't. The ones that retooled and offered more value still are in the town I'm living in today, in your town in Alabama. And I don't care where you're at, Little Rock, Manhattan. If you bring value, people want to do business with you. That's just the way it is. So the mistake they're making is not embracing how they fit into that ecosystem. And it needs to be seamless. And so this takes us to where the carriers, I think, are making mistakes. And not all of them, but a good majority of them are taking their eyes because they're trying to catch up with digital, right? Because they waited too long and they were throwing money at it. But it's not just money if you're a carrier or a business. It's time. It's dedication. And so there's been a few carriers that have done well with digital. Everybody else is trying to catch up. They're taking their eye off the ball on people like you that are out there that really touch the customer, because billions can be spent on advertising, but the best advertisement is face-to-face, belly-to-belly. So we could go deep, you know, in Discussion Partner, which is, you know, not even it's a year old. And now I just tell people, you know, throughout the workbook, I talk about applying systems that are not so rigid that you can't be flexible, but making sure that the customer decides, because they have the keys to the kingdom. So I know that's a long answer, of which I could go even further, but I don't think, like I talk to you, I'm talking to your audience, but I'm going to talk to you. It just, you have an ability to have an open mind. And I wrote this down this morning before we came on. Be at home with the unknown. And I wrote it down because I'm reading a book and it has nothing to do with insurance, but what a brilliant statement. And you're that guy, you embody that. So like I said, I'm excited to be on your show. That's one of the reasons. You're not afraid.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, and you know, I did a video. I know you're probably familiar with Lemonade. Mm-hmm. There's nothing I hate more when insurance agents are talking about insurance carriers, and you always have that guy or girl that's like, oh, they don't pay claims. Like, there's no insurance carrier that doesn't pay claims. There may be some that are different and are bad at it, right? You know, you and I both have a few that are popping our head, but I'm like, just because you disagree with a company's business model or an agent's business model doesn't mean you can't learn something from them.
Of course.
Especially if it's appealing to your marketplace, right? And so like there's a couple of commercial carriers on the independent side now, and some wholesalers as well, that are allowing agents to go direct to consumer. Okay. For example, we have a commercial carrier that you can go to my website and you can quote and bind your own BOP if you want to.
Right.
I don't think commercial insurance should be purchased that way, but I'm testing it, right? And there was someone in an insurance group was posting about it, and they were going back and forth, and there was this one guy in there that said, nope, not in my agency. And it was very much a la 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 approach to it. I'm like, but if you're taking a la 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 approach, then you can't see the things that they're doing right. And if it's appealing to the market, then there's definitely something there.
Agreed. So let me support your premise, the way you think. I'm going to support it so everybody that listens to us talking can understand it. When I started in 1983, Geico was considered a cheap company. You bought it because, the perception was wrong. But the perception was they're cheap and you buy it because you want to save a few bucks. But I got to tell you, man, and I'll disclose, I work for almost every company in some capacity. I've never been paid by Geico. So I can say this with a straight face. I have awesome respect for Geico. I really do. And they did it. They did it through telephony. And to your point, go look to see what they were doing. I did it 10 years ago, 15 years ago. What are they doing on the phone so I could help myself? What are they doing with mailers? What are they doing with digital? And they beat everybody at digital. And guess what they're doing now, Brett? Guess. They're opening agencies that are contractor-led. Let me explain that. They're not owned by Geico. They have their own shops, but they're opening up in communities where we're living contractor-owned shops. Now, the contractors have to follow their way of doing business, no different than exclusive companies, and maybe more rigid. But I got to tell you, go look to see. That's what Sam Walton did with Walmart. He went to Montgomery Ward's. He went to Sears. He went to local departments. What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? So I love your attitude, man. Never stop learning that way and just be open to it. Great, great, great thing.